Hey, what's going on, my friends, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you 5 things I think you should know about tonight's full moon here on February 17th, 2022. Number 1, standing up for yourself. What I mean by that is sometimes as we're going through a spiritual awakening, we find ourselves unable to avoid certain situations, or especially certain energies. Certain energies that seem to come into our life, and this could be through circumstance, oftentimes through relationships, even within ourselves. And these energies always bring out the worst in us. They always cause us to react. And then we can't help but think, boy, if I could just avoid this, if I could just find a way to omit these energies from my life, then I would be free. Then I would be good. Then I could, maintain some semblance of neutrality, happiness, peace, etc. But there comes a point where the only way out is through. Now I know this, some of you know what I'm talking about, but some of you say, what are you talking about, energy guy? You're not making any sense. I'll give an example, a real blunt example from my own life. My wife, I've been married for about 15 years. I love her to pieces. She's my soulmate. But my wife has a crazy side. She has a crazy side, a side that is very hard to deal with at times, which we all have. It's when her deepest wounds are triggered and she gets really angry sometimes. And I have my issues as well, and we both have put up with each other's issues for this whole time, and we both are patient as we can be with one another. But her crazy side has been coming up a lot over the past few months. And every time, as much as I don't want to react, I've just reacted to it because it's so uncomfortable to be in the presence of her when she's in that state. Now I know intellectually the reason she's doing that, acting like that, is because it's like her deepest abandonment wounds are triggered. Her parents were never around. She grew up feeling like she didn't belong. She didn't deserve to live. She grew up feeling like she didn't even know why she was alive because no one seemed to love her. And like when that is pinged within her, that's where that crazy side comes out. And I know this. It's easy to see other people's shadow, right? So I know what she needs is love. She needs to know she's loved. But she gets so angry sometimes, it's been impossible for me to not react. And like I was saying before, I was like, man, I guess I just have to accept this. I have to tolerate it. I need to remove myself. And it's like, no. Well, I've been learning that no, what I need to do is stop shying away from it. I need to stand up to it. Stand up to it, in this case, with love and acceptance and patience. It's more like an attitude. So the solution, if you find yourself in some way bumping up against an energy, and it might not be from another person, I've also experienced this with my own sort of fears, my reoccurring fears that always come up and bring me into fear. It's something that you can't avoid. It's like a challenging circumstance or energy you can't avoid. Now is the time to stand up for yourself, to stand up to it. Not in some sort of resistant, confrontational way. But what we need to do is match or exceed that energy. And what I mean by that, this is a reference to my 12-year-old daughter's basketball game. I was watching it the other night. And her team is awesome, by the way. They're always dominating the teams. But this one particular team, they played twice. The first time they won by 1 basket. This time they were sort of dominating them. But this team came back in the second half and they were freaking on fire. They were aggressive. These little girls, they were intense. And it was like, holy cow, all of a sudden my daughter's team is being challenged. Right? This other team just scoring, boom, 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 making a good comeback. And her coach, who's amazing, this guy called the timeout, blew the whistle, come on in. And my daughter told me what the coach said. The coach told the team, listen, you need to either match or exceed this team's effort, or you're not going to win this. And her team did. They went out and they won. But that's the advice I have. If you find yourself bumping into the same issue, the same block, the same fear, the same doubt, the same personality type, you can't shy away. You need to meet that with your strength, with your power, perhaps with your love, with your patience. But the only way out is through. Hopefully that made some sense, because it's a very good opportunity to really transcend something that may have been coming up for you for perhaps years. Number 2, my friend, is the time, it's go time. I wrote that in green, it's go time. It's a time of action. There's a problem I notice a lot of spiritual people have, including myself. Sometimes they're too psychic. Sometimes they can sense way too far into the future. And you can kind of a lot of you maybe sort of see your whole destiny, laid out for you to an extent. And then when we compare that eventual end, that destiny, to where we're at now, it makes us wonder, like, where the heck do I begin? I don't even know where to begin. This reminds me of, I was doing a coaching session yesterday with our full-time purpose group, people, spiritual entrepreneurs. I coach them. And this one woman said, hey man, it's been a while. I've not been on in a while, and I feel kind of stuck. And I don't know where to begin. So I don't know where to start. I said, well, let's hear. What do you have? Why are you here? What's your vision? And she said, well, I know exactly what my vision is. I see myself having this like center, this like healing center, and she gave me this huge vision, but she doesn't even know where to begin. She's at square one. I had the same problem with writing a book. Years ago, I just sort of had an intuition, I'm going to write a book. But then it's like every time I go to write, it's just not time to write. So sometimes you can see way far into the future, where maybe 20 years from now, I'll write a book, probably for me. But it doesn't mean I need to worry about that now. We need to walk before we run. And a lot of times we wait for the clarity. Well, how am I going to write this book? How am I going to start this healing center? I don't even know. I don't have enough information to go on. But sometimes we just have to go. We just have to act. We just have to stumble across the starting line and just sort of see what happens. The same thing happened to me many years ago when I knew I wanted to have an online presence. Is it a blog? Is it a YouTube channel? What kind of YouTube channel? I liked a lot of things. I had many hobbies, many passions, many interests. Well, which one? Do I do all of them? I don't know. So I waited. I waited for clarity. I waited for Archangel Michael to bless me with a download. Say, here's what you're to do, Victor. Here's your purpose. None of that happened. And eventually life created enough pressure to where I just said, screw it. I'm going to go for it. It's go time. So I created 5 YouTube channels. All 5 channels had a blog associated. So I had 5 websites, 5 YouTube channels. And you know what? Only one of them I work on now. And it was only through that action, that imperfect action, that experimentation, that I found the clarity. You can only get so much clarity from the safety of our meditation cushion. Sometimes we got to get out there. We got to get our hands dirty. We got to make mistakes. We have to fall. We have to fail over and over and over. We have to get feedback. It's kind of like an airplane. If an airplane leaves from Los Angeles and goes to New York, it doesn't go in a straight line, even though it sort of has an idea already of where it's going. But what it does is it kind of does this, right? It's just how the planes work. I read about it. It's what I was told in the book. But the point is, this is how we find our true north. This is how we get to our vision. And these little zigs and zags really aren't doing justice to what they really imply. And what they imply is mistake, wrong, not here. But as we ping back and forth, we get clarity. And number 3, it's a time to serve. I know a lot of you don't feel like you're worthy or you're ready to serve, but you are. And you know it when you feel the call. This is a Joseph Campbell reference of his real popular book, I think it's called The Hero with 1,000 Faces or something. It's about the hero's journey. The spiritual awakening journey, same thing. All the journeys start with a call to adventure, where you really start to wake up and realize that, man, I'm not happy in my life. Something's off, something's missing. I long for depth, more purpose, more passion, more joy, more freedom. I need something. So I just go off. And a lot of you have done that. This is not what I'm referring to. And we go off on this spiritual journey where we learn lessons, we meet guides, we go through breakthroughs, we experience the transcendence of many things that once held us back. We experience this paradigm shift. A lot of you have done that. But there's another call that comes after that. It's not that you just head off into the sunset by yourself or go live in a cave. Very few people end up actually feeling called to do that, where you're just in the bliss state for the rest of your incarnation. No. You make it. You make it in a sense, and then you hear another call. And the other call is a call to return. To return home. I don't want to go home. I'm free. There's part of you that feels a call to go back. To go back and to serve. And that's where a lot of you are at right now. And that's why I'm saying it's go time. And I know the same exact thing happened to me. I felt this call to serve, this call to share myself. I didn't know how, I didn't know which way to do it, but I just started sharing. I just started serving in many different ways. And what I found is this. Eventually, those you serve pull out of you your life purpose. They pull out of you what they need. And it just so happens what they pull out of you is what you enjoy sharing anyways. What I mean by that is it reminds me of a real well-known channeler, a phenomenal channeler named Bashar. A lot of you have probably heard of Bashar. And a lot of people, when they get up and they can ask Bashar a question, he's a channeler. They say, how do I channel? What are some ways to channel? And what Bashar always says, he says, get people. Do it with people. You can only learn so much, again, from your meditation cushion, from your channeling books. Get in a group of people and they will pull out of you information. And that's been my exact experience. The more people that started to kind of see me on YouTube, the easier it is to get inspirations to share. In fact, I've been noticing a lot of comments lately as I've been doing these weekly energy updates. By the way, they're every Monday at 4, a weekly energy update. People have been asking, Victor, I love your sessions or whatever, but where do you get your information? How do you do this? I can tell you this. There's no wizardry. There's no mystical secrets I possess. It's you. It's you. That what I do is no different than any musician having an inspiration to do a riff, to just share something they enjoy. That's all that's happening, just inspiration. But the reason these so-called mystical wizardry energy updates work is because of you. It's because of you aligning yourself with what you need to hear at the perfect timing. The perfect timing, that's you. The synchronicity, you. The resonance, Victor, no, it's you. And your timing. It happens to come out of my mouth. And if I wasn't here, it'd be something else. It may be a book your aunt sends you for your birthday. The book is magical. No. So my point is, you don't have to feel ready. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to start. You just have to try. And the more you do it, the more you try, the more the world will suck out of you your service, your purpose, your passion, your healing abilities, whatever it is. Number 4, I wrote down freedom and joy now. That's a little bit incomplete. What I really want to say is doing what you want to do. Where's the connection, bro? Doing what you want. It's a time to do what you want to do. It's not a time to serve and fulfill your mission. It's a time to do what you want to do. That will happen to be, I bet for most of you, a form of service, a form of contribution, an expression of your passion. But the thing is, you don't have to get the healing center. I don't have to have the book written. You don't have to have the end result to experience the freedom and joy now. Just making the choice in this instance, I'm going to do it. You literally, it's like you shift into alignment with life with your real self. And as you do that, in the instant, in the moment, there is freedom and joy. Maybe the book will get written 20 years from now. Will that make me happy? No. It'll be a very fleeting little high, if that. But going forward on my path now feels freaking great. A perfect example I just watched last night with my family. We're diehard Jerry Seinfeld fans. We were watching this documentary, and he's sort of it's like a comedic act on Netflix, and he's also sort of recounting his history and how he started. He's been doing comedy for like 50, 60 years or something like that, maybe 50 years. And he started when comedy was not even a thing. It was a very fringe thing that very few people did, but he somehow caught wind of it, and he just knew that he wanted to be a part of that world. He loved it. And when he first started out in his career, very humble beginnings for Jerry. He lived in this 15-foot apartment, he said. This is his words, in New York. He said he had nothing but a bed, not even a couch. In fact, someone eventually bought him like a plant or some kind of funny thing, and he was like, man, I could use a couch. I don't need this thing. But anyway, he lived in this little teeny-ass apartment, very little amenities whatsoever, and 7 days a week, he worked at this comedy club or something in New York. And he was so happy. He lived off of hamburgers because they gave him free food. He said for lunch, he'd have a hamburger. He'd go up and he'd do his comedy act. He'd get done. He'd have another hamburger. He ate 20 freaking hamburgers a week. That's all he did. He ate hamburgers and he slept in some shitty little apartment and he did comedy. And he said he was happy. He said he had no aspiration to make it, to become successful. That wasn't even something that people did yet. He just knew, I love comedy. And I can tell you, I experienced the exact same thing. Like I said, I started off on YouTube and I didn't know what I was doing. And eventually I had a little success on YouTube, not really enough to support myself or my family, but I was still doing it. And there was a time, in order to sort of survive and support my family, we had to sell our house. And we had to move our entire family, 3 kids, by the way, and a cat and a dog, my wife and myself, into a 21-foot travel trailer. And we lived in this super little RV for an entire family. And that was our house. I had literally, for like my belongings, I had this one cupboard thing next to our bed, which folded down into the living room, which was also in the kitchen. It was one little room. Anyway, I had this little cupboard thing, maybe like 12 inches wide by about 3 feet. And that was my belongings. I had a Kindle, I had a few pair of like these sweatpant things I like to wear, and I had 6 shirts, 3 white shirts and 3 black shirts. They cost $6 a piece from H&M, and that's all I had. And I had my laptop. I filmed on my little iPhone. A very minimalist lifestyle. And you want to know what? I was happy. We have so many pictures from that era when we were broke, when we were poor, when we have yet to be successful. We were smiling, we were laughing. I spent a lot of good time with my family. I was doing what I love. My circumstances certainly changed. I have definitely more material results of me staying committed to my path, but I was happy then. And you can be happy too. You don't have to make it. You don't have to get there. In fact, oftentimes me and my friend Aaron Doughty, my best buddy, he sort of had a similar upbringing as me, where he's now committed to his passion and successful. We oftentimes look back at the good old days. We literally look back at the beginning with nostalgia because it was a little more simple then. Now my life is a bit more complex, honestly. And there's times I miss the simplicity of me just doing what I love without all the other stuff I have to kind of now mentally manage. Okay, so now's the time. If you choose to go for it, which I recommend you do, you can really experience a lot of happiness right now. Certainly a heck of a lot more happiness than you would feel if you clung to some circumstance that might give you that material result you like, but there's a shallowness, there's a hollowness, there's something missing. That is far more of a miserable existence than you roughing it and actually being free, actually doing what you choose to do in this life. When you align your actions with what your joy is, things happen and you feel really good. All of this is leading to, my friend, an opportunity. It's not going to just come knocking on your door, but for those of you who are willing to go for it, step out of your comfort zone and go for it. There's a new beginning possible. It's hard to really express into words what this means, because a new beginning, it could be in anything. It could be like starting a new novel in your bedroom before you go to bed. It's a new life chapter that will open up. And this new chapter could be the best chapter yet. It'll be one where you can experience greater depths of joy and alignment than you ever have before. Even if you're like Jerry Seinfeld for a little while, roughing it. This new chapter can be amazing. But a lot of times, all the time really, for me anyway, before a new chapter, so to speak, there's a lot of nerves. A lot of you might be nodding your head saying, I know. But you might also know when it comes down to it, it's not easy. It's not easy to move your family into a freaking RV. It's not easy to quit your job. It's not easy to go for something without any real guaranteed result, even if it makes you happy. It's scary. That's why most people don't do it. But what I've learned is that those nerves are good. I've learned to associate the intense nervousness that can keep you awake at night and drive you crazy with breaking through, with really living truly. A story that comes to mind is the very first time I did this webinar for my full-time purpose coaching program. Years ago, my friend Aaron Doughty, we created this, it's like a webinar. It's like an hour and a half long presentation that sort of lays out our coaching program. And what it was is we both did one. And Aaron did one, and he launched it to his audience, and he presented his the day before mine. And Aaron did an amazing job. A ton of people signed up. It was a huge success because we put a lot of time and energy and work into learning how to make a webinar, filming the webinar, getting it all dialed in to where we could actually do it and people could sign up. It was this whole thing, months of work. And it came down to this one event, this one night. And Aaron had his. And I remember I was in the comment section helping him out when he was doing his thing, and it was a huge success, and he was so happy. But the next night was my turn, and I was so nervous. I was so scared that what if it fails? What if all my hard work does not pay off? And I was thinking, man, me and Aaron are partners in this program, and if I don't pull my end of the way, I'm gonna feel like a failure. And I just had so many nerves. In fact, I'll never forget, because the way this webinar worked is I recorded it, and then I welcomed people, and then I hit play, and then it played, because it was sort of a complex thing I had to do. But anyway, it was still, people were live watching, and then at the end, they're either going to join or not join. It's going to succeed or it's going to fail. And I'll never forget, as it got close to the point where I was going to start inviting people to join, I couldn't take it. I literally had to leave. I couldn't even be around. I went out in Aaron's backyard and jumped frantically on his little trampoline over and over and over again. And I'd look in the window to see what Aaron's doing. And he's just sitting there typing away, managing the comments like I did. And oh my God, I would never want to feel those nerves again, and yet I have. And guess what? After, mine did a little better than Aaron's actually. It was phenomenal. It was a huge success, and that was just an example of those nerves. You can't have the feeling of victory, of triumph, of breaking through, of a new beginning if you play it safe all the time. Those nerves are inevitable. But if you can understand that if you feel them, you're on the brink. You're really close to breaking through it. And if you do fail, guess what? You're going to learn so much that it's going to catapult you even higher. That's how it works. And by the way, my friends, I figured I would mention, if this really does resonate for you and you feel yourself feeling called to sort of put yourself out there and help, heal, coach, transform people in a similar way as me, as a coach or a psychic or a healer or a tarot reader or a channeler or a medium, something like that, and you want to learn how to do that online, my friend Aaron Doughty, as I mentioned, we're doing a 3-day challenge starting on Friday, so in a couple of days now. And it's going to be a free 3-day online event where we share with you information that will help you do that, because this is something we have mastered. We've learned how to grow an audience online. We've learned how to create a purpose-based successful online career helping these people that you like to talk to anyways. And it can become a whole lifestyle that a lot of people are feeling attracted to right now. And it's just a fantastic way to learn how to really get yourself and your messages and your story and your services out there in a very effective way. We teach you sort of the ins and outs of how to leverage the internet. This is a free challenge, totally free, but spots are limited and they're filling up quickly. There's a link down below if this interests you. And if it doesn't interest you, that's totally cool. I'll see you all next Monday for another weekly energy update. Have an amazing day, my friends. Peace.